And Ethereum's big claim to fame right now, people are building ICOs on it. It's the ICO coin. It was suggested to me, actually, I think it was by Simon Dixon, that why not, there are going to be other coins that are going to be able to be used for these ICOs, maybe Litecoin. So are there plans to make Litecoin more ICO-able, I guess?
You're basically saying being able to release tokens on top of Bitcoin.
Yes.
Yeah, so Bitcoin was the original coin that people were able to release tokens on, right? Via Omni or Mastercoin and what's the other one? Counterparty, right?
Yeah, so, they're kind of bulky though.
Yeah. I mean, they're not bulky. They're harder to use because for one thing, it's not natively on chain, so you have to download a different client. And another thing is Bitcoin fees are high, so it costs a lot of money to create these tokens. So like Omni is releasing a client for Litecoin very soon, where they will start using Tether on Litecoin. So you can use Omni on Litecoin to create tokens. Another thing we're looking into is the Smart Crypto Vault soft fork, which would add more smart contract capabilities to Litecoin. And we're also looking at this this other thing proposed by Johnson Lau, which is adding color coin capabilities on chain for Litecoin. So that's something that we're also exploring. So I think in the future, Litecoin it'll be a lot easier to create tokens on Litecoin, also similar to how people are doing on Ethereum.
Excellent. That is, you heard it here, people. That's very interesting news. Yeah, I am not a big fan of Counterparty. I mean, I experimented with it a couple times, and it was just, I guess bulky is the word I use. It was just clunky, I guess. But we're early on in all this cryptocurrency stuff. Things will get easier. Our interfaces are not the best. So when we're talking about Litecoin, I guess, developments here. At one point, we had talked about an anonymous layer for Litecoin. Is there making it more Monero-like? Is that still in the works? Are people thinking about that still?
It's still in the works. It's always something that I want to do, which is add privacy or fungibility to Litecoin. So something like confidential transactions would be is something that we're looking into. It'll take some time before it's ready to add to Litecoin, but it's definitely something I'm really looking forward to.
Okay, that's good to know. Any other important updates you want to tell us about Litecoin before we kind of get into some other topics here about, there's a lot of news going on.
Recently, I've been working on getting Lightning Network working properly on Litecoin mainnet. So I've been testing Lightning Labs LND with Jack Mahler's Zap UI. I got that working, but I'm waiting for some other people to actually start testing some Lightning Network payments and stuff. So that's very exciting.
Now, I've got a question. Cross-chain atomic swaps. It sounds complex. Can you explain that to us? People are excited that Litecoin will have this ability.
Okay, so let me try to explain this terminology, right? Cross-chain atomic swap. What does that mean? Cross-chain just means it's between two different chains, right? Atomic swap means it's done atomically. By atomically, it's a computer science term, which means it's done the swap either happens or it doesn't. There's no like, I give you Bitcoin and I don't receive Litecoin on the other end. So the swaps has to both happen both at the same time. So that's what it means by atomic swap. So this is talking about via like Lightning networks. So if I can send Bitcoin via Lightning Network to a node that will convert to Litecoin and send Litecoin to the receiver. So this way, the node that is doing the swapping, either it does the swap or it doesn't. So there's no like that node cannot steal either Bitcoin or Litecoin from you. So this is what basically what that term means. So yeah, go ahead.
This is a very cool thing. But what does it solve? What is the point of it? I think it's awesome, but what are we getting at? Because people keep on bringing it up, like it's so yeah. Tell us about that.
What we're getting at is the future I envision is you're able to convert easily between any of these cryptocurrencies. So if a merchant accepts Litecoin but not Bitcoin, or vice versa, and you only have the other type of coin, you can send it to them and atomically swap to the coin that they want without you needing to worry too much about what the exchange rate is, what like all the details, right? So you just send Bitcoin, it will swap to Litecoin, and the receiver will receive Litecoin. And also, like, one example I like to use is people use Ether to power decentralized applications, but there's no reason why you need to hold Ether for a store of value. So you can convert from Bitcoin or Litecoin to Ether on the fly as needed. The example I give is, it's in real life today, you don't have barrels of gasoline in your house for your car to use. You just buy gasoline with your US dollar when you need to use it. So same thing, if people think that Ether is like oil to Bitcoin's gold, then you don't need to hold oil. You don't need to speculate on the price of oil to be able to drive a car.
Excellent. Excellent explanation. I hope people get that because, you know, we toss around a lot of complex terms here, and a lot of people, there are a lot of newbies to the space, and I don't expect people to know what that means. By the way, pound that like button. We have like close to 500 live viewers right now. People are pumped for you. But yeah, we have a lot of newbies. We have a lot of people wanting to learn things. What have you been inundated by and amazed like I have these last 3 or 4 months by just how many new people seem to be in the space? I mean, it is a positive thing, but it can be very overwhelming and kind of frustrating in a sense too, when you're getting, people seem to be confused. Some people can't send a Bitcoin transaction, but they're buying ICOs.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this is the space we're in. Every few years, there's a huge like pump and rise in coin prices. And when that happens, mainstream media starts reporting about it. People just get really excited and they buy the coins and they get into this, they get into cryptocurrency. I made a tweet yesterday saying, a meme, saying Litecoin is at an all-time high. And like give me your Bitcoin, or like show me your Bitcoin. Basically, like at the all-time high, everyone hears about it and people just buy into it, right?
Yeah.
So it's cool and all, but the downside is that we've seen it many times where after the all-time high, it may go into a state where the price could drop like 80-90%. Right. And sadly, a lot of people got in at the high price, and they would have to go bear through the bear market before it comes back. So I think it might happen again. So be careful.
It can leave a bad taste in a person's mouth when they buy at an all-time high, and then they have to wait a very long time, and they drop their coin. I mean, you're kind of making some references to the 2014 time period, early 20. I mean, Litecoin hit a $50 high at one point a long time ago now, and it went down to like $3 or $2 or whatever it did. And a lot of people had enough of it, said it was dead, this, that, and the other. But yeah, over time, long-term thinkers, I think long-term Litecoiners are pretty happy. Now, I don't want to get any price predictions out of you. That's not what this is about. But you mentioned newbies buying things at all-time highs, and let's talk about newbies buying coins kind of blindly. There are people buying Bcash. That cannot be denied. People are buying Bcash. You have commented a lot on Bcash on Twitter, and by the way, I linked to Charlie's Twitter below. Please, follow him on there. He's quite entertaining. He sends a lot of information out. In one of your tweets, you mentioned Bcash. Many times you've mentioned Bcash, but you said that it might fork. Actually, that they might have enough problems that it might fork. Can you elaborate on that, or do you know what I'm talking about there?
Yeah. So Bcash forked away from Bitcoin with the same mining algorithm. So SHA-256. So what that means is it's competing with Bitcoin for miners. So being profit driven, miners should only mine the coin if it's profitable, right? They would mine the coin when it's profitable, and when difficulty changes, when it becomes unprofitable, they would leave. And this kind of cycle has caused Bcash's chain to come to kind of a halt or really slow down where blocks are found every like few hours. And then Bcash's difficulty changing algorithm would kick in, the emergency difficulty kick in and reduce the difficulty, and sometimes that would overshoot and made it a lot more profitable to mine Bcash, and then all the miners will jump in and mine again. So this thing could just happen, and it's also, if we're lucky and it gets into a stable state, any price a pump or dump on Bcash price could cause this to happen again. Right, it could cause people to jump back in or just all abandon it. And I think the only way to fix it is to fix the mining algorithm or fix the difficulty changing algorithm, and that would require a hard fork. So that's my prediction, that eventually they would have to hard fork. Not necessarily split into two different coins, but they would have to do a hard fork and get everyone to update their software in order to fix this problem. But what we're seeing today is that there is one or few miners that are purposely mining Bcash at a loss. Well, not at a loss, but they're leaving money on the table. They could be mining Bitcoin instead and making more money, but they're mining Bcash, making less, but keeping the difficulty, keeping blocks happening, keeping the difficulty stable. And they're doing that. I'm not exactly sure why they would be doing that, but I think they support Bcash and don't want to see it die.
I mean, there's collusion going on, basically minor collusion that's going on. I mean, I think that's pretty apparent.
I mean, I mentioned previously the way the mining works for Bcash is it basically incentivizes cartels, right? Incentivize either mining cartels that would kind of squeeze as much money out of Bcash as possible, or cartels that would try to keep it afloat but losing money. So yeah, there's something going on.
All right. There's a question from the audience here. Someone sent a super chat donation, so that was very nice. So I'm going to read off what they had to say. Charlie, Litecoin and Decred plan to announce Lightning Network on mainnet together?
Well, being a decentralized currency, there's no we're not making deals with another coin to announce some partnership. I mean, recently you hear about the Ethereum news making a deal with a bank, which is kind of weird for a decentralized currency. But we're not planning to do anything like that. It will happen. I mean, we'll work with all these. We'll work with Bitcoin, Decred, Vercoin, whoever has Lightning networks. We'll work with them to get something working.
You make a very good point about decentralization. I mean, what do you think about how? Again, I'm going back to the newbies, but it seems like people don't care about decentralization as much as they used to in terms of at least buying coins. I mean, there's a lot of coins that are clearly not very decentralized, Bcash, but people are buying them. Is this a lost art, or is this just going to be forgotten? Is it not important anymore?
Yeah, I mean, the speculators will buy whatever they think will go up, and they can make more money off of it, right? There's always going to be speculation, and speculation is not bad in and of itself. I mean, it greases the market. So, but yeah, you just have to be careful, right? Some coin, don't be left holding the bag.
Well, let's move on to some new developments here. You heard about the GPU mining coin. People call it Bitcoin Gold. It's going to be a fork off of Bitcoin. I'm calling it B Gold. What do you think about that in terms of the GPU mining? Does that make it more decentralized if it ends up existing?
Well, a lot of coins are mined by GPU, right? Even Ethereum is mined by GPU. GPU mining, ASIC mining tends to centralize the mining, or at least the mining hardware maker. I think over time it will be more decentralized as the chips get smaller and more commoditized. But initially, at least, it centralizes the mining, as we've seen with Bitcoin and Litecoin. So GPU, yeah, definitely will be more decentralized, where anyone can buy a GPU and run it and mine the coin. But there's really no reason to fork Bitcoin again, like Bcash did, other than a kind of a cash grab. right? Because there's tons of other GPU mineable coins already.
Well, that's what I call them Bitcoin, well, crypto dividends. They're just, it's a way for the holders of Bitcoin to be rewarded. So I report on them when I hear about them. But I mean, I think the BTG people, the B Gold people, and again, you heard about this before I even talked about it, I'm pretty sure, because you're in the know. They're doing it's a friendly fork. And
it's a friendly fork. The only thing I don't like about it is they're doing an ICO on top of that, right? They're mining a lot of coins and basically selling them. Basically, it's a way to make money. It's a way to make money off of speculation. I don't support it. I think like in 2013, it was the year of the altcoins, right? People just create altcoins left and right and speculate them and make some money, and people make a lot of money. 2017 is all about ICOs. And some say, I think you might have mentioned it, 2018 is all about forks, right? Like dividend or whatever you call it. Yeah, so it's speculators speculating that something will be worth something and making money off of it.
Yeah, I agree that the crypto dividend trend is just getting started, but I think one of the positives is that if they really get their GPU coin out there before 2x does, 2x gets their coin out there, it's going to neuter the. People are worried about 2x. Are you worried about 2x?
A little bit. 2x is very contentious, and it's gonna hurt Bitcoin more than Bcash did, because Bcash is more like a small community of Bitcoin split off in its own coin, whereas 2x, it could potentially be like miners and some exchanges and merchant processors split off, and then you have like a lot of users and then some exchanges and a few miners wanted to stick with the original coin, and all the developers are staying with the original coin. So it's actually like splitting the community in a really bad way, right? It's I mean,
you're saying that you think some people are going to stick with the agreement, despite that, it's just written on paper. People can do whatever they want to do, and that, I mean, a lot of people are speculating that maybe they just signed it so that SegWit could get implemented, and they'll forget it.
Some probably signed it to get SegWit implemented, but some people are a lot of people are sticking to their word, which is good, right? Can't fault them too much for that.
No, on that level, you cannot.
Yeah, and from my point of view, like the agreement is pretty much null and void because of Bcash. Right, some miners already start. I mean, the whole point of the agreement is that you all stick together. But if some miners are going to start milking another coin and like dividing the community and start mining Bcash, and then the community is split off, then the agreement kind of falls down. Right, there's no agreement anymore.
I agree.
And pushing that today will even divide the community even more. So it's not going to do any good.
Okay, I agree with that it is null and void based on that interpretation of it, definitely. Oh, someone's phone's ringing.
That's mine.
Oh, everyone knows Charlie's ring right now. Pound that like button, 613 live viewers. 613, that's how many commandments there are. People say the 10 commandments are actually 613 commandments. That's, wow, the phone rang right then when we were talking about 613. Uh-oh. Get worried, people. That must be some, people like to interpret biblical numbers and say they have something to do with the crypto. I mean, just the most crazy thing you ever heard. By the way, we've got people giving they want to ask you questions here. There's one, a $2 guy, Charlie. We plan to add Litecoin to our BTM soon. Okay, that's good news.
What's BTM?
I guess Bitcoin teller machine.
Shouldn't it be called LTM?
Yes, it should be. Well, I guess they're going with that brand name there. When I was in Hong Kong, I met a guy that said, "Hey, how can I get the Litecoin type of Bitcoin?" I mean, so yeah.
Well, that's cool to hear that more. Like, there's going to be more Litecoin ATMs out there. Yeah,
that
I'm
is
excited. I actually haven't seen one in a while yet, so I'll be very proud to see a Litecoin ATM one day.
okay. Paul out in San Francisco, I know him. Paul has a question. And again, thank you everyone for these super chats. What kind of scenarios, messiness, can Charlie imagine if real replay protection isn't put into SegWit 2x?
So basically what happened with Ethereum Classic would happen with Bitcoin, where exchanges could potentially lose money. They would stop all withdrawals and implement replay protection. And replay protection would be even harder on Bitcoin because Ethereum, you can do a contract. With Bitcoin, you would have to use newly mined blocks and kind of taint your coins to protect yourself from replay. So it's going to be a mess. It's going to be hard. It's going to be confusing. It's already confusing enough when you accidentally send Bitcoin to a Bcash address or vice versa. It's going to be really, really confusing. And Bitcoin, unlike Ether, which is really not used much outside of like trading, speculating, Bitcoin is actually really used by merchants, and it's used, and that's why the blockchain is full, is because it's really used. And so that's going to be really confusing. I don't really want to see that happen.
No, of course not. And again, it goes back to my point, though. We've already had this Bcash crypto dividend. Now we're going to have the 2x one. We're going to have a B gold one. In some way, isn't there a psychological change here where this shouldn't be as scary? That it is just a way for holders to get more just free money?
If it's like Bcash or B Gold where they kind of split off cleanly, then it's just a dividend, right? But if it's SegWit 2x where they basically want to take Bitcoin in that direction and basically drag everyone else along, and a lot of people don't want to be dragged along in that direction. So that's going to cause a lot of problems between like the community.
I mean, you're basically saying they want the Bitcoin name. They want the Bitcoin name. They're going to say they're the real Bitcoin, but we still have Bcash saying that they're the real Bitcoin. So
yeah, but they're gonna they're doing a fork and they're forcing everyone to come along because they're assuming they have the hash power. They're gonna use all the hash power is going to mine this SegWit 2x coin, and whoever wants to stay in the original chain would be left with very little hash power. So that's gonna hurt. So the original chain might have to switch proof of work or something to stay alive, but we'll see what happens. I don't think all the hash rate is going to move over to the B2X coin, but that's why it's so messy. And the amazing thing is the Bitcoin price is still going up. The honey badger doesn't care.
I mean, well, that's the thing. I tell people that are in our space here, I think we're in a very small bubble. To take a step back and try to analyze all the people that are into Bitcoin now and how many really even know all of this is going on. And because so few people know that it's going on, I think it's not as big as we in the little bubble make it out to be, because the price is still good. I mean, the price is a reflection of the market. The price means something. It means something.
Yeah.
And people, the general market is not as worried as, I'm not saying you're worried, but you're giving a hesitant, you're concerned about this.
A little bit, yeah. I think Bitcoin will be fine. I mean, the price shows that people believe will be fine. Just like the UASF whole SegWit thing, right? It came out fine. Yeah.
That's the way I see it too. I think we get through it. There's a day after tomorrow. November, there's going to be there'll be issues probably, but I mean,
just today, F2 Pool released a statement saying they're backing away from the SegWit 2x agreement. I think more and more pools and companies will see that there's really no need to push for this this controversial fork. Like SegWit just activated. A lot of wallets are adding support for it. People are paying very little fees now. They're using SegWit transactions and realizing, hey, you can pay like half the fee. I think over the next year, the blocks will increase to about 2 megabytes, and it'll be fine for now. And then we can think about how to do a safe hard fork. I don't think any of the Bitcoin developers are against a hard fork. They're against doing it when it's not needed, when there's a solution like SegWit that does everything, including increasing block size for very little risk. So there's no reason to push for a risky hard fork. But I think we'll plan for a safe hard fork in a year or even 2, depending on how much time we have. So doing something like in the next 2 months is it's stupid.
Do you think that the market, the people, the community of Bitcoin, I mean, you're on Twitter every day. I think you get a taste that most people are not fans of this possible crypto dividend 2x hard fork, whatever you want to call it. They have a bad taste in their mouth. Do you think the people, if they keep on making a big stink out of this and threaten boycotts of these businesses, that it can lessen the likelihood that this is even going to happen, or if it's even going to wreak havoc like a few people are worried about?
Yeah, I think from my point of view, I think the majority of the people are against a hard fork, especially one where the developers are not on board. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of stupid. The developers have been doing such a good job with the code, and you're going to hard fork away from them just because of something. That's stupid. So I think a lot of people are on the side of not doing a hard fork, but I may also be in a kind of a bias, like a bubble, where I'm only hearing what I want to hear. So it's hard for people to see what's going on and change their mind, because they may say, oh, those are just astroturfing. Maybe someone paid a company to actually pretend to be a lot of users and be against the SegWit 2x hard fork. So it's easy to convince yourself that you're right. And for all I know, I'm convincing myself that I'm right, but I'm actually wrong. So it's hard to change your mind, right? So we'll see what happens. Yeah.
I say that all of us out here who are hardcore SegWit people, we appreciate that you're speaking your voice. You're putting it out there. You are a respected person in this space, and when people hear you, you don't hold back. I mean, you just said what you said about what's going on, and people appreciate that. And I think there are a lot of thought leaders out there that are on the same page as you. And you talk about astroturfing, it seems like the other side of the debate kind of plays into that or buys that. There's a lot of weird fake accounts out there sometimes.
Well, I think it probably affects both sides. I wouldn't say like one side is doing a lot more than the other, but it's kind of what Satoshi and Bitcoin solved, right? Which is the Byzantine generals problem, where but it doesn't really solve it fully, because hash rate is not everything from my point of view. It's basically, hash rate is a proxy of what people want, but it doesn't represent people fully. And being a decentralized system, it's just inefficient. I mean, Bitcoin is inefficient. It wastes a lot of electricity to achieve this consensus and make it censorship resistant, right? And likewise, the community is inefficient. You can't easily come to an agreement or come to a consensus. You have to fight and just bicker on Twitter and go through all this problem to try to figure out like what consensus, whether there is consensus. And that comes with the territory, I think. It won't be the last of it.
No, there are going to be future arguments, but hey, that's the strength of Bitcoin. We got a question out there. Does Charlie, this is from Paul again, out in San Francisco. Paul is awesome. Does Charlie think big exchanges or wallets might be interested in running their own Lightning Network hubs? How does he see Lightning Network growing, developing?
Yeah, I definitely think that exchanges and wallets will be hubs. The Lightning Network, I think, will be more centralized than Bitcoin. You'll have you'll have the major hubs like Coinbase. I see as a big example of someone that would run a Lightning Network hub, and people would use Coinbase, and Coinbase would send Lightning Network transactions to other exchanges or whatever. And Coinbase being the exchange will also run Lightning Network exchanges where it would be on running Lightning Network on top of both Bitcoin and Litecoin, and expose their exchange rate, whatever is the current exchange rate on GDAX on the Lightning Network, and people can atomically exchange Bitcoin for Litecoin and vice versa via Coinbase.
Excellent. Shout outs to Coinbase. Hey, I pound that like button, people out there. This thing is just beautiful. We're getting toward the end, though. I want to say that you talked about you're not a fan of the forking of Bitcoin for it to form these crypto dividends. Have you heard anyone talk about in the rumor mill forking of Litecoin and forming their own crypto dividend that way?
People have wanted to fork Litecoin for a long time. Like when A6 came out for Litecoin, there's like a group of people, or maybe even just one person, who was really against it and wanted to take Litecoin back to its original roots, and fork it to another algorithm that is more ASIC proof, or at least doesn't have ASICs for it right now, like Litecoin X11. So he threatened to fork Litecoin X11, but that didn't happen. I think forking of coins is always a threat and a possibility. It's basically how people express their displeasure of what's going on currently. Like you can easily fork away, and if you have a large enough people behind you, then you can become the dominant coin, right? That's always a threat that will exist, and it's a kind of a stick to make sure that the current people in charge, so to speak, is doing a good job.
Well, I want to say that speaking of forks again, we had a question that was sent to me, actually. This wasn't on the chat. And this kind of deals, you talked about Beagle very briefly, how they're going to be forking from a past block. I have heard that the Bitcoin Gold team is debating whether to fork from the same block height as Bcash or at a date in the future with a few weeks preparation. What do you think they should do?
I don't know what they should do. To be honest, I don't really care that much.
But do you, forking from the past like that brings up it creates a pre-mined situation, don't you? Don't you think forking from the present would leave a better taste in people's mouth, I guess?
It doesn't really matter. Unless you're talking about forking from like a long time ago, like a year ago. But forking from like a month ago, the people who own Bitcoin then versus owning now, it's about the same people. Sure, there will be people who bought Bitcoin between then and now, and they'll be upset that they don't have B-Gold, a dividend, but it's a very small amount of people. And I think I heard that they support SegWit, so it doesn't matter. If they didn't support SegWit, they would have to fork from back then when SegWit hasn't activated yet.
Yeah, they do, from what I heard. They also mentioned atomic swap, that what we were talking about beforehand, that they'd be able to do that with Litecoin. Cross-chain atomics, I can't even say it right. But cross-chain atomic swaps. Oh man, the terminology is a tongue twister here. We got two more questions from the audience here. GF sent $10 R, whatever that is. Charlie, do you think we should hold some Bcash for November turbulence? Do you see potential for any altcoin besides Litecoin in your personal portfolio? Which ones?
Okay, so I won't recommend what people should or should not buy, but I can tell you what I hold. I don't hold any Bcash currently. I hold Bitcoin, Litecoin, Monero, Decred, and Ethereum Classic right now.
Wow. All in my top tier. Pound that like button. Charlie has revealed that stuff before. People just love to hear that for some reason. But it reassures me that when I hear about all these Johnny-come-lately flavor of the month altcoins, when you hear a guy like Charlie talk about the ones that are clearly in the top tier in my head, they're on my shirt. Or wait, are all the ones you mentioned? Yeah, all the ones you mentioned are on my shirt. Ethereum Classic isn't on my shirt, but all right, here we have another question though. If you send Bitcoin from Coinbase to Bittrex, but you use your Bitcoin Cash address, is there a way to get your Bitcoin back that you sent?
Why are people asking me this question?
Because you worked at Coinbase at one time, I believe.
You send it from Coinbase to Bittrex or vice versa?
If you sent Bitcoin from Coinbase to Bittrex, yeah. If it's sent to
Bittrex, then they have to contact Bittrex to say, I sent you the wrong coin, please help me get it back. Whereas if you sent coins from Bittrex to Coinbase, then you have to wait till Coinbase actually supports withdrawal of Bitcoin.
Bcash.
Can't even remember that name. Bitcoin Cash. And when they do, you should be able to withdraw those Bitcoin Cash.
Yeah, everyone be real careful about where you're sending your people still send the Ethereum to Ethereum Classic. I mean, there's still all sorts of mistakes when you're sending stuff to exchanges. They aren't too fast to correct the mistake. And just pay real close attention on this these crypto dividends definitely add a new level of confusion, and you got to be careful. Got to be careful where you're sending people. And again, if you just hold instead of trying to flip this stuff and trying to buy every altcoin on earth, you lessen your risk. And again, control your private key. That's when we're talking about forking from the past. If you still have your private key and everything from the past, you're in good shape if you want some of these crypto dividends that might fork from the past. Okay, well, I think I've covered just about everything here, and we've gotten to people's questions. Charlie, is there anything you want to add to this? It's been great to have you on the show.
Yeah, I love to stop by every now and then. You've been trying to get me on for a while now. I've been always busy. But
yeah, we've tried to surprise you. There was one time Charlie came on in the middle of a show. It was totally surprise. I tried to kind of arrange that. That's really hard to coordinate, but you never know when you tune into this channel who might pop up in the middle of a regularly scheduled show. And speaking of regularly scheduled shows, tomorrow 5:30 p.m. is This Week in Bitcoin. We got Ari Paul coming on, Bitcoin Joe. We've got Jorge from Argentina. It is going to be awesome. 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And again, check out the notes section below. Check out Charlie's link is below. Again, the floor is yours, Charlie Lee, if you want to say anything now.
To the moon?
Yeah, but that's a good question. How crazy could this Bitcoin price be after the 2x drama is over?
I don't know. I mean, I thought Bitcoin would do well this year. I did not. I think to myself, I think that it could reach like 3,000 at 5,000 at best case scenario. And right now it's like 4,700. So it's almost to my best case scenario. And I did not expect, to be honest, I did not expect Litecoin to be at $74 right now. I thought initially that if we could get back to 30, or like basically challenging the all-time high, I would be extremely happy. And it's at $74. It's ridiculous. I think it's another pump. Just be careful. Yeah.
Wow. That leads to another question, but continue. Sorry.
Yeah. So it's weird when the price shoots up like that. I get scared because I'm worried about people who like see the price jump up so much and they just like mortgage their house and put all their money into the coin. And basically those are people that they're buying high and selling low, and they would lose a lot of money. So yes, a lot of people who already hold the coins are making money, making bank right now, but there's also going to be a lot of people who are going to be buying at a high price. So yeah,
that you are definitely careful and modest in your predictions. That's good. We've got, okay, so I do want to, someone sent $2 and said thank you for the show. That is really nice. Here another person said, will there be Litecoin US dollar wallet like Bitcoin on Coinbase? This would tremendously help merchants accept Litecoin.
What's the question?
Will there be Litecoin US dollar wallet like Bitcoin on Coinbase? This would tremendously help merchants accept Litecoin for currency.
Oh, like basically instantly exchange Litecoin into US dollar. I'm not sure if they're going to do that. I hope that one day they will actually support merchants accepting Litecoin. That would be helpful too.
Okay, that's definitely what he's getting. I assume that is what he is getting at. Thank you, Jake. Finally, so what do you had a famous Reddit post. People were unhappy about an appearance you made on the mainstream media because you didn't pump up Litecoin. I mean, you're honest. And again, I get asked questions about people want Litecoin to be like the second coming here. I mean, they want it to be a superstar. They want me to say the most positive things about it. Yet we have the guy who came up with it, who is just takes like a very conservative approach. What do you have to say to the people that think that you should be the pumper, the marketer, the king of the world?
So I think Litecoin and Bitcoin, they will do well over time. You don't need to pump it. The problem with pumping it is you'll have more volatility, right? Yes, it could go up. Like if I went on CNBC and basically just said everyone should buy Litecoin, it's awesome, it's amazing. Yes, you'll get more people buying it, but they won't be understanding what they're buying it. There'll be a lot of pumping. The price will shoot up, but then it will crash. In the end, in the long term, it won't help that much. In the long term, it's best for people to slowly learn about Litecoin and to kind of invest in it, knowing what it is, and slowly have it go up in price. So no need to pump it.
Charlie Lee, a long-term thinker. Adam Meister, a long-term thinker. The Bitcoin Meister channel for long-term thinkers. Don't be impulsive, people. Do not be impulsive. This is a lesson that you all should have learned from this talk today. So Charlie Lee, thank you very much for being on the show. 670 live viewers. Pound that like button right now. Spread the word about this. This has been a very informative video. You don't get this kind of thing anywhere else, these unique topics. So again, thank you very much, Charlie Lee. Pound that like button. Everyone, I'll say hello in the chat if I can. Bye-bye.